The New Generation World 11 is a group of select players who are regarded as the next superstars for the next generation of football. Now at this point in the series we know of 3 confirmed New Gen 11s. The first being Sae Itoshi representing Spain as a midfielder for Real, the next being Michael Kaiser representing Germany as a centre forward for Bastard Munchen, and the newest confirmed New Gen 11 is Don Lorenzo representing Italy as a centre back for Italy's Ubers. However, with the series currently reaching chapter 275 in its manga, and most likely being over halfway done with the series, many fans like myself are wondering when we're going to be introduced to our next New Gen 11. But if you think about it, we probably have already met our next New Gen 11, and it might be exactly who you're thinking. Also, I do kind of apologize if I sound weird, it's because I'm sick, so if I sound a little off, that's kind of why. Before I get into the video, I want to talk to you guys about my Discord server, that being the New Egoist Geeks. On this server, myself and other Blue Lock content creators are able to talk about Blue Lock with our community, post our theories and debate others, as well as display our artwork. It also allows you, the viewer, to submit your own personal video requests, that way myself and others can turn them into actual videos. If this sounds interesting to you, you can click the link down below to join and become a part of that community. And like in all of my videos, spoilers for the latest chapters of the Blue Lock manga, and if you aren't caught up to the latest chapters, I would suggest you click off this video right now, because there will be spoilers. Now to begin, we should start by looking at what the exact criteria are for someone to be given the New Gen 11 title. According to the Blue Lock Wiki, the New Generation World 11 is a group of international youth players heralded as the next generation of football superstars. Selected and recognized by FIFA, the New Gen 11 are selected by their individual abilities and potential. Not much is known besides that. So far there are only 3 that have been revealed, all within the U20 category. They all have outstanding standout abilities that separate them from their similarly aged peers. They usually have a skill that is not easily replicable, such as Sae's perfect kicking technique or Kaiser's lightning fast and accurate shot. And despite the lack of information that we do have for guard in the New Gen 11, this does give us a pretty good set of qualifications. For someone to be granted the title of New Gen 11, they need to be an international youth U20 player selected by FIFA for their outstanding and difficult to replicate individual abilities that place them above others in terms of potential. While the U20 aspect isn't exactly concrete, it does make a lot of sense considering they're going to be the next generation of superstars for the football world, so them being in the U20 category just kind of makes sense. Given these requirements, and because you saw the thumbnail, I believe that the next New Gen 11 is going to be Julian Loki. Yes, I know this answer is fairly generic and it was a very popular theory a while ago, but it does make the most amount of sense. The theory of Loki being a New Gen 11 has been brought up ever since his introduction in the series, and it's weird because Loki does fit all of the requirements to be a New Gen 11. He is only 17 playing in the U20 age group. Despite playing for the France national team, he still is able to compete in the World Cup, specifically the U20 World Cup. His speed and his strides are unnaturally fast, and not even players like Chidi can match his pace. And being only 17, he has a lot of room to grow before reaching his prime, meaning he has a lot of potential. The only requirement not checked off the list is that he hasn't been selected by FIFA, however I believe that he's going to be selected after this game against Bastard Munchen. Now I honestly do get where some people may be coming from with remarks like, "Oh, but Loki is already Master Striker level," and "Loki is already better than the New Gen 11s, who doesn't need the title." But I think people are failing to understand what the New Gen 11 is, despite my incredibly insightful explanation. Think of the New Gen 11 not as a stage in a Pokemon evolution, but more of exactly what it is, being a title. The New Gen 11 is simply a title for players who meet a criteria. It isn't necessarily a skill level. It simply refers to players whose talents and abilities make them the future superstars of football. And only when the generation after them arises will those New Gen 11s lose their title. When looking at Loki himself, despite him playing for France's national team, I would not consider him to be on the level of Noah or Prince. First off, I want you to compare their ages. Noah and Prince are likely in their early 30s, while Loki is only 17. While age isn't in reference to their skill, it's in reference to their generation, saying that Loki is not in the same generation as Noah or Chris Prince. In chapter 88, this is confirmed by Tokimitsu, who says he's in our generation and he's already representing France. This literally refers to Loki being in the same generation as Isagi, Lurin, and the other New Gen 11s, meaning he does fit the requirement for the U20 age group. And before you say he doesn't play for the U20 age group, what about Charles then? Charles himself has not been confirmed to play for the France national team, yet Loki wants to use him to make himself the best striker in the world. It's likely to conclude that Loki will be participating in the U20 World Cup with Charles, which gives him some use in the later points of the series. Because why introduce Charles if those two characters are not going to be facing off against Blue Lock in this next arc? And again, if this does track, it does fit the requirement for the U20 age group that Loki would need in order to be crowned a New Gen 11. If you want to reference the remark of Loki being a current superstar, in chapter 155, Ego clearly states that Loki is the top rising star of France, which confirms that he isn't already an existing superstar. Meaning, aside from being selected by FIFA, Loki fits all of the requirements to be crowned a New Gen 11. Another remark that people like like to bring up is that Loki is already a pro, he doesn't need that title. Well, first off, let's take a look at real life events to get some reference into the real world. According to sources, the youngest player in a World Cup final was Pelé of Brazil when he appeared in the final against Sweden in 1958. At that point, he was only 17 years old and 249 days. So considering Loki is playing for the France national team, he obviously hasn't been playing for long, because current Loki is 17, the same age as Pelé. So in the instance that Loki is going to be playing for France, or has already been playing for France, he would have had to have been playing for maybe a year prior. Anything prior to that seems very unrealistic in the series. Not to mention, Noah also plays for the France national team, but he's never regarded Loki as being a teammate, meaning Loki has either very recently started representing France, or he and Noah are not in the same age group, proving both of my arguments saying that Loki is in the U20 age group and also not in the same generation as Noah. But in reference to the In Blue Lock universe, what about Sae? Sae is considered to be of professional level. The only reason that he's been playing on Real's subordinate team is because he wasn't old enough and didn't meet the age requirements to go pro in Spain. That was because at the beginning of the series, he was 17, however now he is 18. Meaning not only now can he go pro, but he most likely will go pro for Spain. However, that does not disregard the fact that Sae is still going to be maintaining his title of New Gen 11. The same could be said for Loki, a professional rising star player with the title of Next Generation World 11. Because they're both in the same age bracket, they both would be up and coming rising superstars, and they both have incredible individualized techniques. They both fit the same description of New Gen 11, only one of them has not been crowned that yet. And don't just take my word for it, here's another Blue Lock content creator who believes the exact same.
Loki is New Gen 11 material. Like, undeniable. I don't know why people keep arguing against this. Just because he's a master doesn't mean he can't hold the other title. He's the top rising star, as Ego said. He's the child prodigy. Like, come on. He's better than the New Gen 11 players, but that doesn't mean he can't hold the title. The title is specifically given to players with the most ability / potential. Loki should be in that category. Loki deserves to be in that category.
Thank you, Raven, for proving my point. You guys should go check him out. He makes some awesome Blue Lock content, and I think you guys would love him. His channel is linked down below, so go check him out. Before I continue the video, I want to talk to you guys about this video's sponsor, that being Anime Express. Anime Express is a website where you can purchase anime-related memorabilia and attire, such as exclusive figures, jewelry, and some awesome clothing. They aren't limited to just the big names like One Piece, Jujutsu Kaisen, or Bleach, but they also have things for the Blue Lock community. Examples being these fire jerseys, shirts, and even this awesome high-grade necklace. When purchasing your products, they're also super clear about the details of the product, so you know exactly what you're going to be getting. What's even more awesome is that when you use the code ARROW10 at checkout, you'll save 10% off your entire order. If that's something that interests you, click the link at the top of the description to go over to their website and check out some of their stuff. And remember to use ARROW10 at checkout to save 10% off of your entire order. Alright, now back to the video. Now aside from why he fits the criteria to be crowned New Gen 11, what events do I think are going to take place that allow Loki to get that title? Now as I'm writing the script for this video, the leaks for chapter 276 have not been released yet. So my predictions are going off of chapter 275 and prior. As of chapter 275, we see Rin bleeding from his mouth and nose after his goal. Now call it what you will, I believe that this is grounds for substitution. Some people think that he broke his nose, and others just believe that he bit his tongue. Either way, I believe that he's going to be substituted off the pitch. And it kinda makes sense. Rin has fully fulfilled his use during this game. He's beaten Isagi, he's scored a goal, and he's surpassed Sae's expectations. There's really no more use for him on the pitch aside from just being a temporary hurdle for Isagi and Kaiser to overcome. And with the rock, paper, scissors mentioned from before, this would essentially keep the game at a standstill. However, this is the time where I believe that Loki is going to sub in for Rin against Bastard Munchen. With Charles being guided by both Shido and Rin's unique playstyles, I think that Loki would recognize Charles' awakening and sub on for a trial run for their chemical reaction. Now I do see two possible events taking place, however they result in the same outcome, that being Loki scoring against Bastard Munchen and winning PXG the game. Those two possibilities being whether Noah chooses to sub onto the pitch or decides to stay on the bench. If Noah chooses to sub on, I could see Loki breaking away from him with his insane speed, scoring a goal from Charles' pass. This would be more impressive of a feat and be more ground for him being crowned as a New Gen 11. Seeing as him breaking away from the #1 striker in the world and scoring a goal would definitely show his promise as an up-and-comer player. This would be the final push that FIFA needs to grant him that title, seeing as he fits all of the other requirements anyways. The other possibility I see is Noah not choosing to sub on and Loki still scoring anyways. Noah would likely not sub on due to Loki only being 17 and being from the same generation as the people playing. He might want to test Bastard Munchen against someone who plays for the national team while still being their age. This would allow for Blue Lock to test themselves against the national player without the help from the master strikers. it'd give the Blue Lockers and us a glance as to what to expect from the upcoming U20 World Cup arc, as well as set Loki and Charles up as the next obstacle to overcome, in the same way that Kaiser and Reen were the previous obstacles. With Loki scoring that winning goal, we'd also get to see him being crowned as a new Gen 11, as the previous new Gen 11s we've already been introduced to them when they already had that title. We know players like Lorenzo and Kaiser started soccer very late and still managed to gain the title, but we don't know what specific moment led FIFA to saying, yes, make them a new Gen 11. This would be the first instance where we actively get to see that event take place, as well as set the precedent for other players getting that title in the future. I know that there are some Izagi and Reen fans who like to believe that they are already worthy of the new Gen 11 title, but this event would show a feat that is worthy of getting that title, and show how far Izagi and Reen are from reaching that point. But that's simply my reasoning as to why I believe that Loki is worthy of getting the title of new Gen 11, as well as how he would exactly gain that title. I hope you guys did enjoy that video and will leave me your predictions for the next chapter down below. For the question of the video, who is the best confirmed new Gen 11? Leave me your thoughts down below in the comments. And like always, thank you all for watching, like and subscribe for more content just like this.